Hello folks, welcome back to the Urban Rider Studio for something a little bit less formal on this occasion. It's been quite a busy year, so we figured it would be a good opportunity to go over what's happened in 2023, mention some of our standout items, some new additions and some new developments in the Urban Rider company. I am all on my lonesome on this occasion, so if you want to drop a comment down below, and it just makes me feel like I'm with somebody else in the studio and I'm not quite as lonely. There we go. Sad, isn't it? I'm not that lonely. There's people just outside this door. It's fine. Don't worry about me. I'm okay. You don't need to call anyone. Let's crack on. Let's start with some standout items and we'll go head down. So helmet-wise, some of the helmets that stood out to me in particular are the likes of the HJC V10, which is a new addition to it. It's always nice if you get something new anyway, shiny and new and glossy, and it's got a very distinctive style. That's one of the things, that's one of the reasons it stands out to me as much as it does. It's also obviously very practical, very usable, and most importantly meets ECE 2206 safety standards, which will be something I don't really have to say in the future because it becomes standard practice from 2024 onwards. But it really was a nice helmet to wear. It was one of my favorites for the ride outs, and it is one of the ones we use often in actual fact to make other things look good. So that's how much we like it. It also has the option of an integrated audio system which pairs specifically with that helmet in particular. And this would be a good opportunity to point out the fact that helmets are VAT exempt in the UK. And that also goes for accessories for the helmet if bought at the same time as the helmet. So if you are debating whether or not to go for a tinted visor or pin lock or any other accessory like that, or an intercom system, you really should buy it at the same time as the helmet because it will end up cheaper for you in the long run. One of the other helmets that stood out to us this year, because it was nice to see it return, was the Biltwell Gringo S, which is a classic, and it is a really nice shape, and it's proven very popular. People love it. It disappeared for a while, which is a shame. But it has come back and it now meets ECE 2206 safety standards, but still has the same shape, the same style and function. It comes in some nicer colorways. It has a nicer visor as well. Or you might also want to check out the Gringo SV, which I think stands out to me slightly more because it's got a bit more venting, so a bit more practicality across it. Either way, they both look really good. And they are very affordable, which is always a good thing. Now, if you want to spend a little bit more, another helmet that came back to us this year was the Shoei Glamster, which is now also ECE 2206, and that's got some really nice colorways. And if it didn't come back to us this year, it was late last year, but either way, it's a new addition. And one of the colorways that stands out to me in particular is the Neighborhood colorway, which looks really good in the flesh. And if you're not already familiar with the Shoei Glamster, it is really quite lightweight, really quite slimline as well, and it's a very clean silhouette for a helmet, very pretty looking. And lastly, from the helmets that stood out to me was the Shoei Neotech 3, which possibly is a sign of my age because that is a helmet for the more mature gentleman out there who wants, or lady obviously, who wants a helmet that has such a huge amount of practicality. It has a drop-down visor. It has obviously pin lock and venting and all other things to make sure that it doesn't mist up. And crucially, it is also a modular helmet, so you can flip it up. And it is safety approved in both the open and the closed position. And it is the helmet that my dad has, or he has the previous version. So like I say, it's for the connoisseurs out there, the people who have to ride year round and just want a really practical, but still stylish motorcycle helmet, and they are ridiculously comfortable as well. Next for body parts would be your torso. So we've got quite a few different jackets that have arrived with us this year. A range of things from riding shirts to riding jackets to abrasion resistant and armored underlayers. So starting with the shirts, I think the Roland Sands design Cerritos stands out to me as one that is really lightweight, super comfortable just to throw on. You barely even know that it was a motorcycle shirt, but obviously still has the armor, and it's still CE single A approved, so great for, you know, short trips and commutes and riding in town and things like that. The Merlin Brody is also a great option, similarly very stylish. Both of these being shirts are again very affordable. And if you are talking about affordability and value for money, we have some new additions from the company Broga. as well. So we have the California, we have the Montana, and the Ohio if you want a leather option, but they are seriously affordable. Great price. If you're looking for something a little bit more versatile and you want one for all riding conditions, you want one basically that will keep water out and keep you dry in a rainstorm, then we've got loads. We've got the Merlin Edale, the Purton. They're great options, both returning. I think it's the Edale 2 and Purton 2, so newest generation of them. And then we've got the Merlin Cyan, which really stood out to me as well. That honestly has anything you could want from a motorcycle jacket included in it, so incredibly versatile. And then if you want something that's a little bit more retro styled, Fuel always delivers. So the Fuel Bunker is a new edition that came to us quite recently, and that is very versatile, so you can have it in different configurations if you like. Most notably, it's got a removable thermal liner, so you can take that out and you can just wear that by itself if you want to when you're off the bike. Obviously when you're on the bike it's not armoured or protective, it just goes underneath the bunker jacket itself, but that's a great option if you're looking. And speaking of modularity and taking in and out layers, cannot ignore the fact that the Nox Urbane Pro Mark III is also with us, which, I mean, you know Nox, I'm sure you're familiar with them, the quality of their armour, the safety. I mean, if you really want to take your safety seriously, it's a great option to look at. And if you want to, you can stick it underneath other abrasion resistant layers as well. Just it would then serve as your armor and then increased thickness and abrasion resistant. But it's CE AA approved just by itself. And I think for the fact that it holds the armor closer to you, I always find that slightly more comfortable. But obviously in the event of a crash, it keeps the armor where it needs to be, which is most important. Now, if we continue that theory onto your legs as well, you can go for abrasion resistant leggings if you want to, with armor included. Nox do have their own option actually. It's the Action Pro leggings, and they're a great option, but honestly one of the things that stood out to us hugely this year, I mean, it really surprised, it still surprises me really considering how lightweight they are the Pando AAA leggings. So those are AAA approved motorcycle leggings, which is almost mind-blowing. I don't want to oversell it, but the fact they are as light as they are, as flexible as they are, and the same sort of principle, it holds the armor where it needs to be, is absolutely fantastic. It's also, if I'm not mistaken, level 2 armor, so it's slightly thicker as well. Also from Pando, it's a little bit of an oddball, I will grant you, so it's not necessarily for everyone, but I absolutely love mine, are the Pando Moto Triton trousers, which are waterproof, but they are tapered in the leg. They are a slimmer fit, which is very unusual for waterproof outer trousers. Now, because they're waterproof, they're also great at blocking out air, so they keep you warm in the winter. But because they've got a taper to the leg, it is a double-edged sword. So I personally really like that, but I am aware of its limitations. So you can't get it over the top of taller boots, which means that if you are wearing taller boots, you have to tuck the trousers in. And if it is really heavy rainfall, and I can tell you this from experience, it will find a way over the top of the boot, obviously, and get into your shoes, which isn't ideal. But if you're doing shorter trips, or if you just want to couple it with some shorter waterproof boots, it's absolutely fine. You've still got obviously that area where they meet, where water could get in, but in most conditions, it's still going to be enough and adequate waterproofing. And as an added novelty, they're also highly vented. So you can make them a little bit more breathable, which is tough from waterproof items. Sometimes you'll find they're a little bit less comfortable just because you get a bit sweaty underneath. So these are particularly breathable when it comes to waterproofing. The other trousers that stood out to us this year are from Nox. They've got a great range of jeans. They've got improved fits on them, and again, the safety is huge from it. And it really comes down to the armor for me when it comes to Nox items. It's little considerations like the placement of armor, especially in the hip area where most trousers will kind of mount it lengthways, which means that it doesn't necessarily cover enough of your hip bone. But with the Nox, they orient their hip armor horizontally, so it covers a little bit more of the crucial areas you need to protect. And being Nox Micro-Lock armor, you know it is some of the best on the market. If you are looking at their range, the Calder and the Rydell stand out to me as new additions. Obviously this time of year it is quite cold as well, so it's worth thinking about keeping yourself warm. So we've got some heated clothing, and we have a whole new range of heated options from the company Macna. If you want to check out a video on how to stay warm on the motorcycle, we've got a video ourselves with some handy tips in there. And Macna does feature, but what I particularly like about their system is that it all plugs together seamlessly. So if you enter into the Macna ecosystem, if you like, you can just add on things as you might require. So for me, priority tends to be the hands, and they've got loads of options for gloves. And then if you have that, then you might get tempted in the future to go for a jacket. You can go for a gilet, or you can go for a sleeved jacket. And again, they've got heated options, they've got heated leggings, they've got heated socks, for crying out loud. So you can plug in all sorts. And what is also great about it, if you go for one of the ones with Bluetooth connectivity, you can actually control it using the app, which is super easy to use. It's basically just 3 clicks, and you'll be able to turn things on or off. Now that's useful if you're getting off the bike, if you're doing a long trip and you want to just pause. There is a pause button, you're heating, and then come back and just switch it straight back on. And you can obviously just plug it straight into the bike if you want to, or you can use a battery option, but versatility is massive with their collection. And if we're talking accessories, waterproofing, again, you can see there's a theme here. These are things that stand out to me. But having been burnt in the past, I don't like to compromise on my waterproofing. So the Scott Ergo Pro jacket and trousers I recently bought myself. The rest of the team absolutely love them as well, so it's not just me that's saying this. But if you do want my advice, then I used them to go to the Isle of Man with my dad this year, which was awesome. Absolutely fantastic trip. But obviously it rained, so on going there and coming back, in fact, it was a useful thing to have, just stick it on. And to be honest, even if it wasn't raining, if there was a slight threat of rain, I'll stick them on anyway. Also, just, you know, riding late at night to catch ferries, you want to stay warm, and because they're waterproof, they do a great job of just further insulating you and keeping that wind chill off. So it's a fantastic option. And one of my favorite things about it, aside from the fact that it is obviously waterproof, is I find with waterproof items that obviously the seams are the things that are going to break on them. The flexibility in the Scott Ergo Pro is huge, which means that it should, in theory, apply a little bit less pressure to things like seams. So hopefully they'll last longer. I mean, I've only had them for a few months, so I can't say, but mine are working absolutely fine. So I've got no worries about them lasting into the future. But also it makes it more comfortable because they're not restrictive, especially in the trousers. Some waterproof outer trousers can be less flexible. So the flexibility is great in this circumstance because it allows you to be a bit more comfortable on the bike and move about a bit more freely. And they pack down really small. So if you are going to bring them with you as an accessory, they don't take up a lot of luggage space, which is very important. We also, and I believe it still was this year, shows how big it is, we got some more luggage from a company called Wentworth, who you may be familiar with in the past for having the sling for your helmet, so you can carry your helmet with you whilst you're off the bike. And it sold really well for us. It was very popular. So when they came to us and told us they had some more options, we were very interested because they are quite innovative. So they've got the sling, obviously, but also the Sidekick backpack, which has some nifty features in it. You can see the full review if you want to. The switchback was probably the item that stood out to me the most because it is very versatile, because you can use it as a tail pack, which is obviously great, very useful. I like taking the weight off myself, especially when it comes to motorcycle locks and other things like that, anything that's heavy and you don't want it attached to you. But it also doubles up as a backpack because you can unzip and unfold an extra pouch and carry it with you when you're off the bike. And obviously you don't necessarily want to leave valuables on the bike, especially if you're in London. So it's great that you can actually take it with you. That's very useful. They've also got a tool pack called the Shakedown, a tool roll. So you can obviously bring your tools with you if you need to. Another hugely popular item was the Hiplock D1000. It is a D-lock. Obviously, it's a way of securing your bike whilst you're out and about. You could use it at home as well, but the big selling point to this, and the reason I absolutely love it, is just how tough and durable it is. You can find tests for this thing online and see how strong it is. But in essence, it is highly angle grinder resistant, which is obviously one of the more common ways that bike thieves will try and steal your bike. So for the peace of mind that gives you, it is absolutely on my wish list for the future. And I have been told that we have more items arriving soon from Hiplock, so stay tuned. It's definitely a company to look out for if you are serious about keeping your bike safe. Lastly, we have our own new additions. So during the course of this year, we have released the Merlin Onyx collection, of which we just got the newest item in from. So we have a leather jacket, we have a hoodie, a sweater, riding trainers, and the wax jacket just arrived with us. These are made in collaboration with Merlin. It's a company we obviously know really well. We really trust their work. We've used them in the past as well. So the wax jacket, the riding trainers, they have previous versions. So these are the next generation of those, if you like. And we've got the sweater, the hoodie, and the leather jacket. They are new items for us, but we love the work they've done. We're very happy with what we've managed to create with Merlin, and we hope you like them too. Very stealthy. And keeping on that theme, in fact, we also have a collaboration with John Doe. So we have the Maverick and the Pioneer. The Maverick jacket and the Pioneer trousers from their mono range, their mono collection, and it's a darker version of items you'll have seen from them in the past. But we really like the colour black, what can I say? I mean, I literally am kitted out in it. And I was told just before recording this by my colleague Lawrence, who you've met before, he was very proud, and he should be, that we've added over 1,000 new products to our catalogue, of which we have a variety of new brands as well, some of which I've mentioned during this video, like Broga, for example, or Macna, but we've also got Former, who are new to us, and Pike Brothers, actually, as well. Lots of stuff from protective gear to accessories to lifestyle gear, stuff to wear off the bike as well, all sorts of stuff. So we've got a very big catalogue. We are quite proud of it. We do shout about the new items that we get, but keep up to date on our Instagram or obviously on YouTube as we shout about new products. And probably the biggest new addition, in fact definitely the biggest new addition, is the fact that we recently partnered with Royal Enfield to open a Royal Enfield dealership inside our Chelsea store. Huge amount of work for the team. I did nothing, but I still get to play with the toys, and that's what I'm most excited about. So we've got their fleet, their range in there. We have demo bikes available. The store looks awesome, and you can check them out if you want to. If you are local, feel free to stop in, or if you just want to check out our YouTube channel, there will be some videos coming soon regarding that. I know Andy's already talked to you about it, but it just was a really good fit for us. They are a fantastic platform. We love the fact that they keep improving and innovating, and they are going to keep developing and improving moving forward. We love the accessorizability, that's not a word, the fact that you can make them a bit more custom and bespoke. We've been very impressed with the development of Royal Enfield and of their bikes, and we can't wait to see what they develop in the future. With that in mind, if there are any particular Royal Enfield models you would like to see featured on the channel, then drop that in the comment section down below, or any videos you might want to see in the future as well. Put your request in, and I'll see you in the new year. Bye. There's nothing on this, by the way. Just pretending to type. That's not a password.